Good morning, children. 10th class student. In your class, we had done yesterday, in our class, 10th class, we had done about nationalism in India. Okay, I had told you all that in India as well as in other colonies, nationalism emerged because we were suffering, we were having a lot of troubles, we were having a lot of sorrows, and because of this, when we were fighting against the imperialists, that was the time when we were getting united also. That is, so we can say that nationalism in Europe came 100 years before, but nationalism in Asian and African countries, it came 100 years after, when people started sharing their troubles, because everybody was suffering, everybody was oppressed, everybody was repressed by the imperialist. Okay, we, whatever you have studied before this, that is, we are going to pick up a story from 1920 onwards. Before that, whatever history was it, you must have studied in your class 8. And in this chapter also, I had told you all that we'll be doing two movements, that is non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement. 1919, we know that world war ended. I had started with this, that the world war ended and it created a new political and economic condition. Things became very difficult, and 12 to 13 million people perished in our country. And amongst all this, a new leader with a novel method of fighting emerged, and his name was Mahatma Gandhi, who returned from Africa in the year 1915, January 1915. Before coming into active politics, he had undertaken three satyagraha in various places. Okay, his method was of satyagraha. Okay, satyagraha means, I told you all that satyagraha means what? It is a fight. It is a fight for truth, and it believes that if you're fighting against injustice and for truth, then nobody can stop you, and it is finally you are going to triumph. This was the belief which Mahatma Gandhi had. Everybody said that it was passive, but he said it is as active as it was in South Africa. We had also done about 1919, one development happened in India, that was the Rowlatt Act was passed, and soon after Rowlatt Act there was Jallianwala Bagh tragedy, which stunned the entire nation. Okay, and after this, when violence had spread everywhere, Mahatma Gandhi decided to take back his Rowlatt Satyagraha, and he thought that this was not sufficient. That is, the Satyagraha was limited to towns and cities also. Actually, India was a country of villages, so villages should also be included. He also thought that one community which was left out was Muslims. So Muslims should also be united. Meanwhile, among the Muslim community, the Khilafat movement was going on, which was started by two brothers, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali. Khalifa's post was supposed to be abolished in Turkey because Turkey was also defeated in the First World War. Mahatma Gandhi discussed with Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, and together they sat down to bring up this movement, that is non-cooperation Khilafat movement, which was being told. And so in Nagpur session 1920 December, it was decided that Congress is going to launch the non-cooperation Khilafat movement. Till here we had done yesterday. Now we are going to start again. Okay. Now what you are going to do is that everybody knows that what is non-cooperation movement. It involves Swadeshi, it involves boycott, it involves strikes, it involves protest, it involves rallies also by the freedom fighters. Okay, here we all know that all this thing happened, whether it was civil disobedience movement or non-cooperation movement, all these things happened. Here what we are going to study is differing strands of the movement. Differing strands means that we all know that India was having a number of communities, and each group, they interpreted this movement in a different manner. This is what we are going to see. First of all, we are going to keep the category of towns and cities, how this movement spread in towns and cities. As far as towns and cities are concerned, this movement started with great vigor and protest. Everybody left their schools, colleges. Okay, students left their schools, colleges, teachers resigned, lawyers gave up going to the court and legal practices. Elections were also boycotted, which was supposed to come. The council elections means the state elections were supposed to come, they were boycotted, except in one place, that was Madras, where there was a party which was having non-Brahmins, and non-Brahmins always believed that if they contest the elections, they are going to get some power. So it was the Justice Party in Madras which contested for the election. Rest all parties boycotted the elections. Okay. As far as the economic front is concerned, for the Britishers, non-cooperation movement gave a great setback. British were exporting goods worth 102 crores this time, but it fell down to 57 crore. Okay, because people had started adopting Swadeshi and they boycotted the British goods. completely. They looted the liquor shops, they bonfired foreign cloths, and so on. This gave indirectly a boost to Indian textile industries, which came up very fast. However, in the towns and cities, this movement gradually lost its momentum because of a variety of reasons. The first reason was this, that khadi, which was spun by hand, it was very expensive and everybody could not buy it. Secondly, if people were leaving their jobs, then they needed some alternative institution to survive on. But these alternate institutions were very slow to come up, so people started trickling back to their work. This was the impact in towns and cities. Next, we are going to talk of the countryside. Countryside means villages. Non-cooperation movement spread in the countryside also. Here we are going to discuss one countryside, that is Awadh. In Awadh, there was a person whose name was Baba Ramchandra, and he was an indentured labor who had gone to work in Fiji plantation of sugarcane in Fiji. Okay, so indentured means on contractual basis, and here he organized the peasants as well as the landless laborer who were suffering a lot at the hands of the landlords. They had no tenant, they were working as tenants on the lands of landlords. They were evicted any time, they had no rights to tenure to tenancy. Beside, they had to do a lot of begari also for these landlords. Okay, so these people were against the landlords completely. In their own way, when they heard of non-cooperation movement, they organized certain kind of restrictions for the landlords. Say, for example, they organized Nai Dhobi Band. That is, the landlords were deprived of these services of washermen as well as of barber also. Okay, 1920 was also the time when Jawaharlal Nehru, he came to active politics, and he was asked to take a round of the entire country and understand the problem. So he came to Awadh, and in Awadh, along with Baba Ramchandra, both of them, they set up the Awadh Kisan Sabha. Okay, the motive was to integrate the peasant movement into a larger movement, that was NCM. Okay, however, the peasant movement progressed, and as soon as Awadh Kisan Sabha was set up in the entire country, around 300 Kisan Sabha was set up in various parts of the country. Okay, but the peasants, in their own manner, they interpreted that the time has come for Swaraj, and land will be redistributed to them. It will be redistributed by them, and they also thought that this is the time then they can loot the hoarded grain also by the landlords. So, in spite of the fact that Mahatma Gandhi never wanted violence, yet these people, they sought to violence, and they looted the hoarded grains, and they even attacked the houses of the landlords and the talukdars, and they even redistributed the land among themselves. Mahatma Gandhi never approved of all this. Okay, but the name of Mahatma was used to invoke sanction to any kind of action over here. Okay, so this is all about Awadh. Next, we are going to talk of Andhra Pradesh. This you have done in your ninth class also, that your forest chapter used to begin with the one line, that there were number of forest rebellion in various parts of our country. Say, for example, Sidhu and Kanun, Santhal Parganas, Birsa Munda in Chota Nagpur Plateau, and A.S. Raju in Andhra Pradesh, and plus Bastar rebellion, which we had done in ninth class. So here we are going to talk about one such other rebellion, that is in Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh, we are going to talk of Gudam Hills of Andhra Pradesh, where there were a number of forest dwellers. The tribals were there, they were completely dependent on forest. Okay, and they used to collect and survive on the forest product only. Whatever they used to do, collect woods or collect berries or collect whatever other things. Government, when they imposed the forest laws, people were not allowed to enter into the forest. Okay, they were not allowed to graze their cattle or to collect fuel wood. This enraged these people, who used to think that this is a natural right that we should enter into forest. Here the person who came to the rescue, his name was Alluri Sitaraman Raju. Okay, instead of depending on the forest, people were asked to do begari and work on the construction of roads as well as railways as well as dams also. Now, A.S. Raju, here he was a quite interesting figure as such, because he claimed that he possessed supernatural powers. Say, for example, he could make correct astrological predictions first. Then he also claimed that he could survive a bullet shot, and thirdly, he could heal the people also. People over there in Andhra Pradesh, they used to think that he is an incarnation of God. Raju on his side, he was highly impressed by Mahatma Gandhi and inspired also, but he believed that non-violence is not going to help them to achieve independence or Swaraj, because we have to use force to achieve independence. Okay. However, people over here, they adopted a tactic which was called as guerrilla warfare tactic. They used to hide and then they used to attack. They attacked the British officials, police stations. They carried guerrilla warfare for Swaraj over here. Finally, Raju was arrested and in 1924 he was executed. So this is another way where people interpreted coming of non-cooperation movement in their own manner to solve their own problem. Third part, what we are going to do is Swaraj in the plantation. Okay, plantation workers, that is those people who used to work in tea plantation, they lived a very miserable and confined life. As per the Inland Emigration Act, this you had done in your ninth class under new trade, new employment, new services. About the plantation, little bit was there. I think this 1859 Inland Emigration Act was also discussed over there. Here again, we are going to repeat this, that as per Inland Emigration Act of 1859, workers, once they enter into the plantation, they were not allowed to leave the tea gardens without any permission. Okay, but these people, when they heard that Mahatma Gandhi is going to launch non-cooperation movement, thousands of them, they defied the authorities and they left the plantation. Unfortunately for these people, there was a strike by the steamers as well as the railways. Police was called, they were beaten and brought back to the plantation. But they believed that non-cooperation movement assures them that they can go to their villages and there they are going to get land over there to work. Okay, so this is how this movement happened in Assam. When we talk of conclusion of this part, okay, then we all know that people of this various category, they interpreted this movement in their own way, Swaraj in their own way, imagining it as a time when all their sufferings and all their troubles are going to end. However, when they chanted Mahatma Gandhi's name or Swatantra Bharat, they were emotionally connected to an all India agitation. They linked their movement, whatever movement they were having, whatever suffering they were having, they linked this movement with a movement which was beyond the limits of their immediate locality. That is, they were coming out of their locality and they were becoming a part of all India agitation which was going on. Children, this is supposed to be your third part. Sorry, this is supposed to be your second part. Okay, first part was beginning of nationalism, Rowlatt Act, Jallianwala Bagh tragedy, okay, and decision to launch non-cooperation movement. Okay, second part is how non-cooperation movement was interpreted by various people. Now, tomorrow onwards, we are going to start with towards civil disobedience movement. Okay, so kindly be present. Somehow my live class video could not be updated, or it could not be uploaded, so I am taking again this recording and I am uploading this all for you. Is that clear? Okay, so you can understand a problem that we are having a lot of problems teaching you all in this manner, but still we are struggling. So please do a bit of yourself, that is study. Thank you. Till here we are going to do. Tomorrow we are going to continue further.